And then when you talk about, perhaps the harms that come in those places, I think in general there has been a real lack of awareness, acknowledgement, respect for mental health. And often it comes from a place of not knowing. And I'll say that as someone who did the Masters of Divinity. And so I try to be a bridge between these, faith community and mental health community, because I find if people are outside of those communities and try to tell you something, you know, a lot of church people aren't going to hear it because they're going to say, well, like, you don't love God anyway, so why should we listen to you? Um, and so I think traditionally in the church is often this pressure for silence or for pretending things are fine, this equating of if you love God, you'll always be happy, right? And if you ever have any despair in your life, that somehow that's a bad indication of your faith. And so, I've heard those kinds of messages. I've heard people in pulpits say, I didn't need therapy. All I needed was Jesus. And people saying, Amen. Meanwhile, I'm surrounded by people who I know are like struggling, who don't, are left with questions after the son committed suicide or left with a challenge over the grief of the mother. And it's been 7 years and they're still stuck in that place, but not having felt like they were given permission to name it, right? And to know like that that's not a judgment about how God feels about you or how you feel about God. We often in church we like these little sayings, and so one of those sayings is like, "I'm too blessed to be stressed." And the reality is, you can have blessings and have stress at the same time. And so I think that probably is the major, I guess, depending in terms of the work I ended up choosing to do, would be like a major um, area of harm, I would say, is the silencing, suffering in silence or not knowing you can ask for help in addition to asking God. So, we often say you can pray to God, and sometimes the answer God gives you is through another person. So it doesn't have to all be like a supernatural encounter, right? Some of it is, but God works through people, and so that has been a big part of my intention around these issues.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Dogado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.